information about an individual. But the second part, and it reflected this buildup. They're going to excuse and justify property taxes by saying they're going to make the super rich pay first. I mean, that's what a lot of these Russian oligarch sanctions are, right? They're getting people excited about the seizure of boats and yachts and buildings and properties, even football clubs in England.
Right. So why not unrealized capital gains?
Exactly. It reminds me of how the Soviets started out seizing everything in Moscow. Let's go seize all the fancy estates and the fancy houses, and you get the crowd all up in all frothed up, all lathered up, and that's precisely what they. But of course, that ends up coming back to ordinary people because the big tech companies can use can use various means of transferring intellectual property, various treaties, tax treaties that govern tax law, a whole bunch of things to avoid paying any of this tax. This tax overwhelmingly falls on labor earners. And if you make your money from your labor, and then it's much harder to avoid taxation. So it's the person who's your really successful labor earner, your really successful small business person who can't magically shift his revenues to Ireland. That's who gets hammered.
Yeah, the group that they actually showed this, the group that pays the highest marginal rate is the group of income earners that make between like $1 million and $5 million per year. So that would be your job creator right there.
Exactly. It's your entrepreneur. But to the state bureaucrat, that's their ultimate adversary.
Right.
Their ultimate adversary isn't the woke corporate executive that you can co-opt in a fascistic enterprise. The real enemy is your independent thinker, independent entrepreneur, independent job provider, independent property holder. That goes all the way back to the Soviet era. Who was their greatest threat? The independent peasant. The independent peasant who had just enough land to be able to provide jobs, employment, and material support to the local community. That is who they hated. That's who they starved out in a famine. It wasn't a Ukrainian-specific famine. It was a peasant farmer-specific famine. It was no more Cossacks, no more kulaks. And that's been true of the state all the way back from the beginning. And that's why they always target the high-end labor earner, the independent property holder, the independent business person, not the super elite that are politically connected and politically protected. They're coming for mom and pop operations.